Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to link to an article earlier this month that deals with homeschooling textbooks and their often glaring failure when it comes to the topic of science. A lot of folks that homeschool their children are doing so because they are in the category of evangelical Christians, and they feel that public school is not appropriate for their children. The problem is a lot of textbooks aimed at that demographic, the evangelical market, are horrible. I hesitate to even call them textbooks. One of the people involved in this article, a woman named Morton, is a scientist, and she was terrified when she opened a textbook that is a science book, and in it was a picture of Adam and Eve saddling up a dinosaur. I really wish I was discussing an Onion article, but I'm not. Now, as I've said in the past, I have mixed feelings about homeschooling. Now, I know someone who does homeschool their daughter, but my friend is a computer engineer by education and a major advocate of science, and is teaching his child physics at a much higher level than she would be at school for her age. So I'm not worried about my friend teaching his daughter the proper types of biology and history and science and things like that. He's going to do this. I know he will. He is not attempting to isolate his daughter from the outside world. He is trying to tailor her education because he feels it is more appropriate for her than a public education at this time. A legitimate reason to homeschool. Unfortunately, many of the people I've encountered in life and on the internet homeschool their children because they are attempting to isolate them. They are attempting to narrow their educational options down to a very, very tight criteria that backs up a world agenda which is very unhealthy. One of the great things about going to public school is that you get exposed to things outside of your experience. And that is exactly what a lot of homeschoolers are trying to avoid. They do not want their children exposed to reality. They only want their children exposed to the very tightly controlled criteria that they give them. They are essentially raising hothouse flowers. There's a problem when you introduce hothouse flowers to the real world, however. They often wilt or die. And they're setting up their children for failure. If you raise a child to believe that Adam and Eve hopped up onto a dinosaur and went riding off into the sunset, how is that child going to be prepared for an actual accredited college sometime in the future? Or are you going to send them to a school that isn't accredited, that just furthers the agenda that you started when they were at home? So I'm confused why a scientist is using these textbooks. Because here's the thing. I've said it before, I'm saying it now, and I can guarantee you I'll have to say it again. If you are attempting to use science to replace religion, you're doing it wrong. And if you're attempting to use religion to replace science, you're doing it wrong. You cannot swap them out for each other. Science is not religion. Religion is not science. You don't have to stop being a theist and embrace science. You don't have to become an atheist if you wish to embrace science. You can be both a theist and a person that loves reason and logic and scientific thought. I know. I am one. But I'm also not trying to convince people to live in this narrow hothouse world that these homeschoolers are. It disturbs me on a deep level when I read about these things or when I encounter people like this. I've even had people tell me that, well, homeschooling's a better environment. And, well, it's more tailored to your kid. Yes, the kid gets more attention, which is awesome. They also don't have the contacts they have as they do in school. They also aren't going to be encouraged to have experiences beyond what you can introduce your child to. So I encourage you to go read the article. I found it disturbing. I find it weird that people that want to isolate their child are upset when the books that are designed to help them isolate their child don't also deliver something which they could get at the public school. Now, I will admit that science education in public schools isn't 100% either, but at least it's better, and it doesn't involve Adam and Eve saddling up a brontosaurus.